It's Sunday Night Live! With your host, Putty Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Putty Man! And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sunday Night Live. I'm your host, Putty Man. Today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of season 47, where it has Rami Malek and Young Thug. Actually, this is a very, very fun show. So first and foremost, welcome to Sunday Night Live. Again, this is a recap of last night's episode of Saturday Night Live. And I actually just realized that Halloween falls on a Sunday, so we may have to cancel that Sunday Night Live or make it later or make it a different time, or I don't know. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. But with that being said, guys, yes, this is Sunday Night Live, and we are celebrating the recap for episode 3. So again, this is a very good one. This was a very enjoyable one, and I'm happy to get into it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Young Thug, I will say, as a recap of how I felt about both of them, Rami Malek is very talented. He's a very charismatic guy, and he's very fun to watch, and he's very good on live TV. Young Thug, on the other hand, was not really good in the performance-wise, in my honest opinion. I didn't feel like it was very entertaining, and I do like him as a musical artist on some songs, but the new songs, they're just not getting to me. I like his old stuff, like I'm a Stoner and things like that, but we won't get into that right now. Right now, we're going to be talking about today's episode. With that being said, we're going to first talk about the cold open of the show, which did have the... and give me 1 second while I get my notes here, which did have an NFL type sketch that we're going to refer to. And it actually, let me do one thing real quick. The cold open was actually quite funny. And once I find my notes and everything here, because my computer decided to give me the notes in the wrong spot. What the heck? Where'd my notes go? I literally lost my notes. Give me 1 second. Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and get back to this real quick without having any problems there. So like I said, the first sketch was the NFL press conference. So apparently, for those that aren't aware, which I wasn't even aware, that's why I said I get my news from Saturday Night Live, there was a coach by the name of John Gruden that sent out really, really, really bad emails with very offensive and racist comments. And we have here Colin Jost playing the role of Gruden, and then what ended up happening here was first off, he ends up being introduced by Cecily Strong as some kind of public relations, but she's not really there that long, so that's why I kind of just skipped over her. But what makes this even more funnier of a sketch is that they end up hiring a new head coach, which, by the way, I said this last week. James Austin Johnson, the gentleman right here that is currently playing, he is playing Mark Davis, the new head coach. But what ended up happening is they made a joke that they found some bad emails with him. So then what they end up doing is bring out the owner, Mark Davis, and Mark Davis says, "So we just fired that coach." Literally, he just got hired and then got fired. So then they took they ended up grabbing the equipment manager right here and making him the new head coach. Now, we do have Pete Davidson that plays head coach Early Rucker, and basically the whole joke of this is each time a character comes up, they basically say, "I'm the new head coach," and then get fired. And it slowly goes in a decline where the equipment manager becomes coach, and then he realizes he has bad Twitters. Then they bring in a Washington football cheerleader where she ends up becoming the new chairman into women's relations, which is played by Heidi Gardner. And then, of course, they decide that they're going to retool themselves and bring out a new mascot that's Italian called, and I'll quote this, mascot Giuseppe the Stinky Italian, which is being played by Kyle Mooney. And then, again, he feels it's not right. So then they end up bringing out Colin Kaepernick, which Colin Kaepernick did actually state that there was all this offensive racist stuff happening and no one listened to him, which is a joke on that, so on and so forth. So it keeps on going into the point of they hire a new coach played by Kenan Thompson, which is actually, a lot of you guys might not know who I'm going to refer to when I say this, but let me try to get him in this frame here. Oh, come on. I want to get him with the frame with the visor. Right there. So, I'm not sure if you guys have watched Star Trek The Next Generation. It's an old Star Trek show. But they have a guy named LeVar Burton that plays a character that's blind, that has a visor so he can see. So, this is actually Kenan Thompson playing LeVar Burton. He also did Reading Rainbow on PBS. And basically, it ends with LeVar Burton, which, again, this is all fake. They're just making a joke on how everyone is offensive and it keeps declining until they hire an African-American to play the coach. And then that's LeVar Burton because he's so safe. They basically saying he's safe, he wouldn't be a problem. It was actually really funny. It's one of those you had to be there kind of jokes when it comes to, the sketch comedy or the humor that's involved with this. So it's, how do I say this? It's, a very, very, it's a very, very dark sense of humor on that situation, and then brings it into a very more lighthearted situation, which is still kind of funny. And then, of course, that ends it with LeVar Burton. They say live from New York Saturday night, like they usually do with their cold opens, and then we go into the intro or the startup of the show. And then, of course, we have the monologue with Rami Malek. Now, if you guys have heard of Mr. Robot, I can't think of the show. I've never watched it. Rami Malek actually plays on that show, and he actually is in the new James Bond movie, and he also played in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. So he's a big actor right now. He plays the Bond villain in the new Bond movie. And he actually was really funny. He actually, in this monologue, he's talking about how he loves playing the villain, and actually used comparisons to why he sympathizes with the villains, talking about how Darth Vader was only trying to get a relationship with his mother, or his brother, his son, sorry. I'm going all through all the family members. He wants to have a relationship with his son. He even talks about Hannibal Lecter just being misunderstood, just making jokes on how villains have softer sides to them, even the darkest of villains. And I've actually added a note here. I did not know this. Rami Malek actually has a twin brother. And he made a joke about how we might be swapping places in this episode. So it was quite funny, to be honest with you. So far as monologues from the last 3 episodes is my favorite monologue they've done so far. So, all right. So after Rami Malek's monologue, we have a school assembly show that's has the principal here played by Kenan Thompson. He's playing Principal Carter, and then we have the teacher, Mrs. Myers, and basically it has to do with 3 kids that are 3 adults, to be honest, because these are all adults in Center Life playing the characters, but they're each playing a bug, and they're explaining what kind of bug they are and what they do as bugs. So, for example, Andrew Dismukes here is the praying mantis. We have the new cast member, if I can get to her correctly. Fortunately, when it comes to putting stuff on the screen, okay, we'll just do it right here. So he's Alex Dismukes is playing the praying mantis. The new cast member, her name is where is it at? It's Sarah Sherman. She's playing the ladybug, and then Rami Malek is playing the stink bug, and then of course we have Bowen Yang as the Daddy Longlegs. What makes this sketch funny is that they're all trying to explain their bug things, while Daddy Longlegs here is talking about how I'm your daddy, da-da-da-da-da, and he's very flamboyant on stage dancing. And he's never explaining what Daddy Longlegs do. He said, what did Daddy Longlegs do? Well, they're daddies, and they have long legs, and that's all you need to know. And then he just keeps going to the point of where him and the stink bug do a monologue because the stink bug wants to be Daddy Longlegs. And then he talks about, so what do you do to tackle a predator or to attack your prey? He says, put down a credit card. again, when I'm explaining these sketches, it's very much more funnier to actually see them, which again, I always leave links below. This one was actually really funny, but it wasn't probably the best one. Actually, the best sketch of the night was actually a music video sketch, and we're going to get into that right now. So, let me get into it. So that was that sketch. That was an enjoyable one and everything, but I feel like there was a lot more that were better. And there's the whole monologue they do together and everything when they do a whole thing. And then we have, which you guys might have seen it, Pete Davidson doing a country song with Rami Malek. And in it, they're both down on their luck. They're basically country singers that are down on their luck. So guess what they decide to sign up for? They decide, oh, and we just got a donation. Hold on one second, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Neo. We're going to give you guys Stream King. For those that are watching this later, Neopain just donated. Oh, I got to change my stuff for tomorrow, too. Neopain just donated, made a nice little donation to the channel, guys. Make sure you guys drop the GG in the chat and show Neo some love, guys. Major GGs. We're going to go ahead and give Neo Stream King for that awesomeness, guys. Show him some love, guys. Show him some definite love. Let me go ahead and get that set up, and then we'll continue on the episode, guys. Okay. All right. So, again, in this episode, let me get back to my list here. Okay. So, in this episode, we see two country guys that are down on their luck and need some money. Can you take a wild guess what they enter into, guys? Well, if you guys can't figure it out, maybe this will help you. Yes. They're a bunch of country boys that go into Squid Games because they're down in the luck. This is my favorite thing ever. This whole sketch was great. There's a point where Chris Red gets killed in Squid Games, and he's singing country while getting his organs harvested. And I mean, what made it great too is the part with the red light, green light, as they would start singing when it was green light. So they'd be like, "Oh, we're in the Squid Games," and be like, "Red light." Oh, we're in the Squid Games. Red light. Oh, we got another donation? No way. Bryson wanted that Stream King. Wow. Guys, drop a GG in the chat. Show Bryson some love. Wow, Bryson. You couldn't let him have it, could you? Oh, guys, show him some love, guys, and drop a GG in the chat. Yes, I will, Bryson. I will give you Stream King on that one, brother. I don't know if the donation thing came up yet, but we might have to wait till that so it doesn't cover up the screen. Beautiful, guys. Show them some love. But yeah, I will say this part right here with the red light, green light, with the with them doing country and then stopping. This was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. Again, all these are in the description. I'm going to tell you guys to watch. I'm going to tell you guys, if you're going to watch any sketch, watch the Squid Game sketch. This was hilarious. And by far, the best sketch they've had all season. Even better than the Cars one I was bragging about before. It's amazing. So then, after the Squid Games, which I don't want to spoil it, they do go into the whole thing and like make another joke about it. We have, I don't want to show that part yet. Okay, so we have three characters, Punky Johnson, if I can say the words. We have Punky Johnson and we have Ego Wodum here playing like judges for an audition. And then we have Chris Red here. He's actually playing Jordan Peele. Now, I'm not sure if he's actually doing this, but in this sketch, he's actually hiring somebody to play Prince. And I don't know if you guys know who Prince is, but he's a famous singer back in the 80s and 90s that passed away. And apparently, he might be doing a biopic, but they're making a joke out of it. So they end up bringing in two people as the last people, and that's Kenan Thompson and Rami Malek to play Prince. All right. Well, of course, they said Rami Malek looks just like Prince, but they said they felt to be offensive to hire him to play Prince since Prince is African American. So they end up giving Kenan Thompson the part, even though he doesn't look the part of Prince as much as he does. Which, by the way, they did both great jobs. Basically, the whole thing was they had to audition and do a bunch of like Prince moves on the spot. So like they'd be like, do a guitar lick, do a what if Prince stepped on a Lego, what if Prince got shot in the foot, that kind of thing. Then what ends up happening is after they do their audition and they hire Kenan Thompson, Daniel Craig comes in wearing a Shakespeare Prince outfit, thinking that the auditions are for a royal type of prince, not the singer Prince. So then he takes the guitar himself as well and starts doing like guitar licks and things of that nature, which they just look horrible, but they're funny. And then it ends there with them basically hiring Kenan Thompson, and that's it. It ends there. Again, very lighthearted, very funny. Probably in the middle ground when it comes to sketches. Definitely was not the top one. The top one would definitely be the Squid Games one. And then after that, it would be, honestly, I think it's this next sketch. Let me check here. I'm trying to see what other sketches they had today. That one was okay. Yeah, this is probably my second best sketch that's coming up. So this is actually a game show, guys. And this game show is called Celebrity School, or Celebrity School Game Show. And in it, they have a bunch of actors that are solving, of course, it's all played by the cast members, all solving questions for the contestants. And what makes this really funny, and I'll explain the context of this, why it's funny, is that each one is playing a character. So, for example, up here, Mikey Day is playing John Oliver. He's a talk show host. Then we have Jennifer Coolidge, played by Chloe Fineman here. Excuse me. Played by Chloe Fineman here, which was really actually funny too. She does a good job of playing Jennifer Coolidge. And if you don't know who she is, she's from American Pie, other movies. She's an older actress that a lot of you guys might not know, unless you're an older person that's watched a lot. Then, of course, we have Adam Driver, played by that new cast member, James Austin Johnson. He's getting a lot of screen time and does very well of it, but he's playing Adam Driver, which, of course, Adam Driver more commonly as Kylo Ren. So he's playing the actor Adam Driver here. Then we have Melissa Villaseñor playing Kristen Wiig, which is actually really funny because she does a great Kristen Wiig. Then we have Bowen Yang playing George Takei from Star Trek. We have Chris Redd playing Lil Wayne, and then here's the funny part: we have Pete Davidson playing Rami Malek, and Rami Malek playing Pete Davidson. So here's the joke: back when Rami Malek, the actual actor, was on a show called Mr. Robot, they did a whole sketch with Pete Davidson as Rami Malek because everyone says he looks like Rami Malek. So the joke here is that they're both playing each other in the sketch. So Pete Davidson's playing Rami Malek and Rami Malek's playing Pete Davidson. And they go extravagant as hell in this sketch. It is hilarious to see these two playing each other. I mean, they do go into the other cast member, and of course Kenan Thompson is the host, and there's the contestants. It's Punky Johnson and I'm forgetting his name already, Andrew Dismukes playing Ryan. But like I said, the biggest thing definitely was the characters. Again, I feel like her portrayal of Jennifer Coolidge is hilarious, but of course you have to know who Jennifer Coolidge really is to know. Again, she was American Pie. She was the MILF from there. Chris Redd as Lil Wayne is always funny, and he actually runs away in this sketch, but he does a great job of being Lil Wayne right here, so that's pretty funny. But again, the biggest thing in this whole sketch was, of course, Pete Davidson and there you go, and Rami Malek as Pete Davidson. Them portraying each other was hilarious. Over-exaggerated everything. What's even funnier is, and I can't even get to it, he actually makes fun of himself by pointing to Pete Davidson as Rami Malek. And, good Lord. Love it when you're trying to skip around, but there's such a small window. Anyway, but basically, as I'm trying to show the part, that's the part I'm trying. Okay, there we go. So he's acting like, dude, he's scaring me. His eyes are too weird. It's bothering me. Like, he literally made fun of himself this whole time that he played this part, which bravo. When someone can make fun of themselves and then portray the person that portray each other, it's just really funny. Again, second favorite sketch of the night. There's one more sketch I would definitely say it was a knockout for me too. Honestly, this was probably the best night of Saturday Night Live so far in the last 3 days. Rami Malek was probably the most entertaining episode ever. And it's funny too because the musical guest is probably the worst. Even though I do like Young Thug, which does get me to Young Thug's performance. So Young Thug performed a song called Tock. And you can't see it, but the drummer behind him is actually a famous drummer by the name of Travis Barker. And he's actually the drummer for him in these performances. It was lukewarm to okay. I mean, if you like the song Tock, that's awesome. I honestly not really into it. You know what I mean? I like Young Thug. Couldn't say his name there for a second, but the performances here were very lacking in my eyes. He's definitely had better performances in the past. So, yeah. So then we also go into Weekend Update. So as you all know, Weekend Update comes after the first performance from the musical guest. Very funny stuff. It's lighthearted humor. There was something I did find out about, and that's what we're going to show next. So, there's a whole thing going online. If I can get it to show up. And I probably have, it's going to be right, that this actor, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware who it is. I didn't know who this actor is, but his name is Timothée Chalamet, and he's playing a young Willy Wonka in a new prequel called a prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So Bowen Yang ends up coming out as a Oompa Loompa, but he's a particular type of Oompa Loompa. He's called a proud gay Oompa Loompa. And he's basically talking on behalf of Chalamet, but he didn't say he was gay. So Colin kind of like outed him on national television. And it's a whole joke about how, you know, at first he was going to talk about the whole controversy over Timothée Chalamet playing the character. And by the way, they're calling him a twink. What is it called? Being called a twink Willy Wonka. I'm so messing this up, but the Oompa Loompa was funny because he was basically like, you know, he was supposed to talk about Timothée Chalamet, but then he's talking about how he hadn't come out to his parents, and then finally accepts that maybe this is a good thing that he came out on national television. And the reason this is the funny joke too is because Bowen Yang is actually homosexual himself, so he does a lot of very homosexual characters, and he does a lot of writing for those type of things. So he wrote this sketch, he wrote this character for Weekend Update. So, you know, it was very, very, very fun. So, and I realized I do have the DC fandom. Unfortunately, people that are watching this later might not see that, so let's not point that out now. I will get that done for tomorrow, guys. All right. Anyway, it's just when that stuff happens, just ignore it. It'll be fixed tomorrow, right? And for those that are watching this later on, it's another thing I did. You can go check it out in my videos. Anyway, so yeah, that's the sketch with Bowen Yang as a Oompa Loompa. Then, of course, we go on. They talk about some stuff with Disney and Netflix. Again, I'm just going to go through the characters they play. Now, Chris Redd plays himself in this role, and he's basically talking about how he's supposed to acknowledge something he did over a year and a half ago. Last time he was on a Weekend Update, and this was in 2020, February of 2020, to be honest. But basically, he talks about how you never know who actually drives a blimp. Like, you never met anybody that actually drives a blimp. He talks about how people should just accept Superman being homosexual in the new comics. And then Michael Che finally tells him, we need to address what happened on Weekend Update. And he keeps on avoiding it. But something really did happen on Weekend Update. So let me explain to you what happened. In February of 2020, Chris Redd, which, by the way, he was joking, but it sounded so realistic that he never returned to Weekend Update. So they're making a joke off of it. But in 2020, during Weekend Update, he literally said, as he was leaving away to do after he did one of these little sketches here, he literally said, and this is, again, I'm not saying this myself, this is what he said. He said, black people can't get the coronavirus, and then walked away. And apparently he never got invited on to Weekend Update again because of that. So this is what they're inquiring about. Michael Che is trying to convince him to apologize for what he said because it's not true, which everyone does realize is a joke, but they decided to go back to it, which was very funny because the way he was avoiding it, talking about Superman and the blimp, was just hilarious. This is probably the funniest thing I saw on there the whole time. Like, his avoidance of it was hilarious. And then finally, the last character we see on Weekend Update is being played by Kenan Thompson. He's just playing a volunteer, and this is a hypnotist called Linus being played by Mikey Day, which is actually a real person that is a real hypnotist. And he basically keeps hypnotizing Kenan Thompson. But the first thing when he hypnotizes the first time, he pees himself. Then when he wakes him up, he notices that because he got hypnotized, he peed himself. So he starts choking the hypnotist. Then he tells him that he didn't pee himself and to think happy thoughts. So then he comes back, and I can't remember what actress he was thinking of, but he's thinking of an actress and gets excited. And so then he puts him back to sleep and says that she's gone. So then he comes back to wake, and because he doesn't see her there, he thinks that Linus has now killed her, and then he puts him back to sleep, and now he thinks it spiraled. It's hilarious, by the way, but it spiraled down so much that it's hard to explain it without having to actually see it. But it is a funny character. Both are funny characters, and fantastic way to end Weekend Update. And honestly, again, best Weekend Update we've had in the last 3 episodes. So again, if you can look at any of the characters, I would say check out the Linus thing, check out the Celeb School game show, and check out the Squid Game sketch. They are definitely awesome. Okay, next sketch we get into is the Sleepy Town USA bed store. So this one's a little bit complicated to explain, but basically there's this couple played by Rami Malek and Amy Bryant, and the salesman is played by Bowen Yang. He's trying to sell a bed to this couple here, but every time they get into the bed to test it, the way they test it is, first off, when they get into bed, they're all nice. They're like, oh, we love this. Then they start arguing, like they're acting like he's coming home late from work or coming home late from drinking, and they're fighting in bed. And literally there's a whole scenario where they're fighting in bed. Apparently he's cheating on her, and also there's a robber. And each time they're testing the bed out, they go from like fiercely angry to happy that the bed worked out, and then testing another bed and going to the same scenario. This was a funny sketch. This was still hilarious. This is the second least good one, I would say. The least funny one would actually be kind of next, because it was more annoying than anything else. But this would probably be, if I were to put this in a category, this would be, so if the Squid Game was number 1, number 2 would be the, it's pretty low. It's probably the second to last best sketch of the night. It's okay, but it's still funny. That's the funny part. It's still quite hilarious. The very adult humor, especially in this part right here. Let's just say there's a reason he has a blanket there. That's all I'm going to say. It's very funny. It's very funny. Then we have a musical performance from Young Thug, his second musical performance of the night, which is quite, okay. It's not really anything, again, in performances-wise, good to me. So, if you want to see it and see if you actually enjoy it, you can. Then we get into another sketch, which actually has Daniel Craig, a.k.a. 007. He was the one earlier in the Prince sketch. And basically, he takes out Cecily Strong's character on a date to meet a character by the name of, and I quote, Angelo. And here's what the sketch is. Angelo asks someone in the audience, right here, and Angelo is being played by the new cast member that hasn't gotten much views, which is Aristotle Atari. His name is Aristotle Atari. And basically, he's playing a lounge singer that is requesting a word. So Daniel Craig says to him the first time, bicycle. But he doesn't understand the word bicycle. He's like, what? But hello? Ba-da-da? Ba-da-da? And Daniel Craig keeps on saying, no, the word is bicycle. He finally says, okay, ba-la-la, and sings a song based off a random obscure blah blah word. Like, it wasn't even a word that made sense. So then he asked the audience again. And again, Daniel Craig's wife or girlfriend there says, hey, pick a word again. So he picks banana. Again, banana doesn't work. It's like he's going blah, 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 blah. He cannot say the word properly, and he just makes up a word, all right? So then, as the sketch is going along, Rami Malek comes into play, and he's apparently the best dancer ever. He comes in as a character named Todd. Once Cecily Strong sees him, because when he announces his name, you can't tell what he's saying. Like, literally what they're talking about is you can't tell what they're saying when they announce certain people or say certain words. So then Todd and them both ask the audience for another word. He's going to do a dance based on the word, and he's going to do a dance. So Daniel Craig picks another word, road trip. Road trip, they can't understand. They're like, blah, 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 blah. And they end up just making absurd word. His dance, okay, Rami Malek's dance is literally him just swaying back and forth. Like, and Cecily Strong's character, the female, is like, oh my God, he's the best dancer in the world. It's the worst dance you've ever seen. So finally, they ask one more time of Daniel Craig to say a word. So Daniel Craig at this point is like, okay, fine. Since you guys can't understand my words, I'm going to say the hardest word to ever say. So he says mesothelioma. All right. I had to remember how to say that. He says mesothelioma, which is some kind of lung disease. And as soon as he says mesothelioma, both of them are like, oh, okay, mesothelioma. And they start going into another dance. And he's at that point, which I'm not going to be able to get it to come up, but actually starts doing like a ribbon dance. Oh, actually, it's right there. He starts doing a ribbon dance, but the ribbons are barely moving. He's just like... So, here's the thing. I get the joke of this. It's very funny. It's very funny in some ways, but it's just... I feel like it dropped off. Honestly, again, best sketches of the night would 100% be the Celeb School game show. The Prince one is pretty good. The country song about Squid Games is good too. So I would say the Squid Game one, the Prince episode, and the game show. Those are the best sketches they had for the night. The other ones fell short. But then we have our closing out, and I do want to go ahead and state one other thing. Again, we had our closing out, and it ends right there. He says thank you to all of them, and then it ends there. But then I went on YouTube, and I was like, there's less sketches this season, this episode than there was before. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring up why I state this, guys, because actually there is actually more sketches. So when you actually go to the SNL website, I've told you guys this before, that they have sketches that are cut for time, all right? So what they do is they'll cut sketches for time out from the pre-dress rehearsal. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever in SNL history, and I'm talking about ever, they've never had 2 cut sketches in one show, but this episode had 3. They had a re-show, they had another version of the one with the writers last week where they were doing the seltzer drinks. But this time he says, I've been a good boy, give me a treat. And they don't give him a treat, so he starts knocking over things and destroying things in the sketch. This is actually funny. Why cut this sketch? It ends up on YouTube, of course, but why cut this sketch? It was hilarious. It's honestly quite funny that the 3 sketches that were cut were more funny than the actual stuff, most of the stuff that went online. Like, here's another one. The other one right here is the Brutal Marriage movie. This is actually making a joke off of a Netflix movie called Marriage Story. Now, it wasn't the best sketch, but compared to that last one with Daniel Craig and Cecily Strong with the Angelo guy, this was way more hilarious. And again, it was cut. It was cut. Then we have finally this one, and Superhost is actually a very weird one, but again, very funny. Again, another sketch that was cut. Basically, Miss Melissa Villaseñor and Mikey Day are at an Airbnb, and Rami Malek and Cecily Strong are trying to get like 5 stars as hosts at the Airbnb, but their good things turn out to be bad. So, for example, they end up making they end up bringing a pizza in. And then, let me see if I can get to it. They end up making a, like, really weird nude picture of them, which I'm probably not going to... There it is. They make a really... Like, again, they've never met them before. And they make a nude picture ready for them and a nude picture of their dog as well. And then it spirals to where they're like, they feel insecure, and they start saying to them, no, they don't want to be there, and they start saying, we're not killers, and it leads down to a path where like, okay, yeah, actually we're killers, we're gonna kill you. And then they go to try to stab them, and they like, oh, we forgot the knives, and the sketch ends. Now, I'm not saying the best sketch, but these 3 uncut sketches alone were better than 2 of the sketches that Daniel Craig won with Angelo. The what was the other one? The cold open, which again, the cold open wasn't much. The bed store one. Those 2 sketches could have been cut out and replaced with 2 of these sketches, and they would have done fine. Again, I don't know where they choose and how they choose, as if it's based off our audience reaction, but the way the audience laughed on this sketch and the other one were honestly good. Why cut it? I just don't know why these 2 sketches were cut. Why these 3 in general. Any of these 3 could have taken over any of those 2 sketches. So, but that's still not bad. My point to the whole thing is if you minus those 2 sketches, the bed one and the Angelo performance one, where the guy's performing, the bug one, the celebrity school sketch, the three judges in the Prince auditions, and the country song of Squid Games were funny to me. They were hilarious. And I honestly loved this. Probably my favorite episode so far. It would be this number 1, Owen Wilson, and then the Kim Kardashian last. Which honestly, I found out from a friend of mine. A lot of you guys know him, Nikki. He said actually a lot of people online said the Kim Kardashian one was good, which shocks me because it was not funny at all to me. So I guess it's a matter of what you consider to be humorous nowadays. I feel like a lot of people like Kim Kardashian just because she's attractive, and they were making jokes off of reality, like real stuff. And I guess maybe that doesn't appeal to me. I don't know. Different ages, different jokes for different folks. It's really much of a difference and everything. But honestly, I felt like this episode of SNL was probably the best episode so far in the season. But I did find out that we are going to have some guests that are going to be pretty good next week. I forgot who it was now. I have written them down. But honestly, I'm pretty excited for next Sunday Night Live. And then, of course, after that, we have Halloween, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do for Sunday Night Live for Halloween. We might be cutting that Sunday Night Live short and not having it at all, but it's going to have Halloween stuff too. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do that day. I'm going to try to set things up to where hopefully I can do a show on that. So I don't know. We'll see. You know what I mean? But with that being said, guys, I know it's short. I went through it pretty quickly. I like this episode. Again, I would say go check the cut sketches. Go check the Celebrity School Game Show, the Prince Auditions, the Squid Game, and the Bug Assembly. Those are probably my 4 favorite sketches of the night. If you like a little more adult humor, you might like the Mattress Store, which is the bed store one. If you like Weekend Update, definitely check out the Linus Minus on Hypnosis sketch. It's really funny as far as the Weekend Update one. Again, musical guest. Young Thug did not knock on the war. Heck, his first song is only 2 minutes long. That's probably the longest song or shortest song I've ever seen on Weekend Up or on Saturday Night Live. It went quick, but I think that's it, guys. I don't see anything else that can be categorized or talked about in it. Again, I did still thoroughly enjoy this episode, so getting through it quickly means that I just was excited to talk about it, and I feel that's a good thing. The longer I'm talking about, I feel like maybe I might be just skimming over things. You never know. But again, we will be doing Sunday Night Live next Sunday. And then I don't know about Halloween, what we're going to do about that. Because I'm definitely going to be doing something special on Halloween, which is on a Sunday. So, with that being said, guys, I guess that's it. That's it for Sunday Night Live for October 17th, 2021. I appreciate you guys coming out and seeing us today. I'm loving doing the show, even though, viewership might be low, but hopefully one day we'll get a lot of those SNL fans coming along to watch the show. But I am Putty, and as always, live from my bedroom, it's Sunday night, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace.